Hey, happy day 804 of What You Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, documenting the journey as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world, and the trials and the tribulations and what works and what doesn't, and just kind of my daily what I'm doing now, in any given day. And what I'm doing right now is pink eyes, right? Pink eyes. Today, Supersize Your Business was about the expression in the pink, and it's a great expression that it means physically and emotionally really, really healthy and in good shape and in a good position. And a lot of us right now aren't feeling like we're in the pink, right? I feel a little guilty because I feel like I'm in the pink. I feel like I'm doing okay. I could be doing better things for my physical health, which I'm going to work on. It started yesterday, getting back to my normal habits. It's been a couple of weeks just kind of in a funk like everybody else because we're so impacted by the change. And I did some things, but I didn't do others. And so I'm like, nope, time to get back on the wagon of your good habits and do those, especially through times of change and chaos. And you know that, so why aren't you doing it? So I pulled up my big girl panties and started doing it, and actually got out and about yesterday, which felt awesome. There's a few people out and about. I think it's really interesting to see how many people are still out in the world and in the physical world, not working, but just making sure that they're engaging, making sure they're going out for walks, getting some sunshine, doing things to take care of themselves physically and emotionally. And for me, getting outside does both of those things. It gets me out for a walk, and it gets me recharging my batteries, and it gets me feeling good. There's something about spring and sunshine. Now, it did snow the day before yesterday, so who knows? The weather is so weird this time of year, at least in Wisconsin, but it's still fun to see. The crocuses and the tulips and things are coming up in the yard, so it's kind of fun to see. Spring is still happening, nature is still growing and around us, even though our normal lives have been turned up into this topsy-turvy mess. So I call this one Pink Eyes because I just did day 11 of the Get Up and Go challenge, and we talked about how do you choose and make decisions among alternatives. And I have a method that's the eyes method, and there's 6 different eye words that start with I, of course, that you look at to analyze alternatives. And it's just kind of a more scientific way. It's actually my version of the nominal group technique. If anybody knows what that is, my inner nerd is coming out right now, like she isn't out all the time. But we talked about Venn diagrams in the nominal group technique. So I guess I am going back to my nerdy roots. We talked about alternatives. How do you decide among alternatives? Bottom line right now, the biggest question you can be asking yourself is, what can I do with what I've got right now, right? And that's kind of been my philosophy throughout this for a long time, but especially throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, is what can I do right now? What can I do with what I've got right now? My granddaughter and I, when we first knew we were going to be spending time together, we sat down and we brainstormed a list of what are the things we can do. And one of the contingencies or parameters I put on it was we have to make a list of things that we can use and do with things that we already have in the house. We're not going to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. We're not going to go out and get a bunch of things. We have to find and use the resources that we already have. And it's actually been really fun. I mean, we've been saving toilet paper rolls. We've been saving Kleenex boxes. We've been saving cracker boxes and things to do different projects. Because one of the things we're going to do is we're going to make little guitars out of Kleenex boxes and paper towel rolls and rubber bands, right? Because it's fun and it's easy. And she's 4 and I can get away with it, right? But the whole philosophy goes through to whatever we're doing. We have to do what we can with what we've got right now. And we have to do what we can, right? In every area of our life, instead of focusing on what we can't do. And this is something I learned when I had chronic pain in my 20s. I was actually bedridden for years because I was focusing on the pain and what wasn't working and how messed up my body was and how much pain I was in, and that I couldn't get out of bed and I couldn't do anything. And I was always thinking about, and I really, as I look back now, I was spending any waking moment I had focusing on what hurt and what wasn't working and how much pain I was in and how bad I felt because I wasn't out hanging out with my college friends. I wasn't out dating and having fun and partying and building my career and my life and my future like all of my friends were and all the people that I knew my age were. And as long as I was on that, as long as I was thinking about those things, I just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And it wasn't until actually my doctors kind of gave up on me, which really, boy, that's that's a devastating feeling. That threw me into a really bad, dark place and depression. And then I don't even know what got me out of that. I think it was some things I had read and some things I had heard from probably Tony Robbins and from other motivational people that I'd been exposed to, my dad at that time, that got me to look at, and somehow I started paying attention to when I wasn't feeling pain. You know, all of a sudden there were times when I could get out of bed and I could go down and have breakfast with my parents, or I could do things. And instead of focusing on all the times I couldn't do the normal things to be normal, I started paying attention to and building upon the times that I could. Okay, my migraines relaxed, so I can read for a while, or whatever it was. But I started linking those times together and noticed that there were more and more of those times. And my doctor said, hey, there's nothing we can do for you. I made some massive changes. I did some drastic things that I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but I went cold turkey on all the medications and things that they had me taking. And I was on a lot. Every anti-inflammatory, every steroids. I had so many steroids that they had me taking, and it was over like a 3-year period, which is super duper bad for you. And what really ended up happening, it was pretty harsh and pretty dramatic for my body, but I realized that part of the problems that I was having and experiencing were not only physical, but physical and mental side effects from all of the medications that I was on. Now, sometimes there's life-saving medications and we have to take them. I learned that about my metoprolol with my ICD, which is an internal cardiac device. You got to take metoprolol. You got to take a beta blocker, or it's bad. It shoots your blood pressure way up. And I, because of that experience, am pretty anti-drugs for myself. They're fine for other people. They're not okay for me. And so I learned that by putting those things together, by changing what I was focusing on and thinking on, I could expand the time that I was actually able to function. And within a pretty short order, even though my doctors had given up on me, I actually took back my life. I reclaimed my life and got going again. I finished college. I got the best job offer of anyone at the University of Minnesota at the time, men or women. And I went to work for one of the biggest corporations in the world. And so it was pretty amazing, that transformation. And it wasn't easy. I'm not going to say it was easy. It definitely wasn't easy. And there were ups and downs. I'm not going to say there weren't ups and downs, because there were. But I think that, and then some other major experiences I've had throughout my life, have prepared me for what we're going through right now. Do I like it? Frickin' A, no. Totally don't like it. Do I worry about and feel for so many people that are going through this for the first time, or having an actual crisis for the first time in their life? Absolutely. But I know the pain that they are going through, because I've been there, and I know with 100% certainty that they'll get through it, that they can get through it, as long as they know and they trust in themselves and believe that they can. Each and every one of us can get through this, no matter what our personal situation, as long as we choose to and believe that we can. I think I'm going to do a video later today about 6 or 7 things you can do. I love this. I forgot I had this. I was looking for a pink necklace today, or some pink jewelry, which I really don't have anything pink, but I was looking for pink because the Supersize Your Business was in the pink. And I'm trying to have a little more fun, get a little more creative with my videos, because I've done thousands of them now, and they're really not much better than when I started. So I'm like, all right, it's time to up my at least my entertainment value. So I'm thinking I'll do a little, what do you do right now? What can you do right now, no matter what your situation, with these little worry dolls? Because I love these little worry dolls. I got them in Mexico when I was in corporate America and traveling there, and I forgot that I had them. But I used to keep them on my desk in my Italian food business. I kept them on my desk, and they just hung there to remind me that, you know, there's no reason to worry, because worrying doesn't add any value to the situation. And whenever I had a worry or a concern in my business, I would give it to one of the little dolls, and I would let them own the worry for me, and then I would let that go, and I would just begin working on solutions. So I love these little worry dolls. So I'm thinking today I will do a live about what are 7 things you can do right now, no matter who you are and where you are, that you can do right now to make sure that you're not worrying and that you're going in the right direction during this time of crisis, and during any time of change, right? Any time of change tends to put us in off our game, put us off our equilibrium, and cause us challenges. So we're doing that. Again, I think I just finished the Get Up and Go Surprise Business today. 95 of the fun challenge, doing a 365-day do one fun thing every day challenge. Was already doing that, of course, before any of this happened. And they're not awesome fun things, but they're just little things. And guess what? When we do a little thing that makes us feel good, it encourages us to pick another thing that makes us feel good. So it might seem like a little thing or maybe a waste of time, or why are you bothering doing that? Guess what? If it only makes one person feel better today to do the fun challenge, then it's worthwhile. And guess what? That one person can be me. If it makes me feel better today, and I use that as my warm-up, my voice video every day, and it does just that. It gets me drinking a sip of coffee, saying hi to people. Hey, here's a fun thing. Have you thought about this? I'm like, I don't even know how to pronounce this person's name, but hey, they got a fun idea for us today. And sometimes they're silly. Sometimes they're just draw something. Sometimes they're inane. Sometimes it's just share something you like or something you hate in the comments below. But it is a way to take our attention away from negative and just focus on something fun every day. So working on those. I'm also doing the Rise Up Challenge with Pete Vargas and the gang there. Really good challenge. I think it's amazing what you can do when you get, 60 people and a team of 35 people together, what you can create on a massive movement level than when you're just doing things on your own. So I'm really enjoying that challenge and having fun with it. And I'm actually doing it. Like, I'm actually listening to it live every day and actually doing the challenge right along with people. Just like I do the Get Up and Go challenge that I'm doing with people in my group. I actually teach the challenge, but then I actually go do the homework myself. Usually I have to create a worksheet or something on the fly, and then I actually use the worksheet, or I use the homework sheet myself before I even post it. And then I post it as an example to say, okay, this is how you can do it. Now, it's not necessarily the right way, but here's how I did it. Here's one example of how you can do it too. Because I want to be not just telling people what to do. I want to be showing them that I do it too. I use these strategies and these things that I'm teaching you and sharing with you because I've accumulated them over the last 50 years. Some of them over 50 years. That the plus and minus strategy I shared today, my dad taught my sisters and I that when we were little girls, and I've used that to make some little decisions like where am I going to go for dinner or what am I going to make for dinner, all the way up to should I leave corporate America once and for all? Should I marry my now ex-husband? Maybe I didn't do that sheet very well, but I did use it for that. I'll never forget after we'd been married for a while, we were moving and he found it. Now, I don't know why it didn't get thrown away. It's one of those things you do and then you throw it away, right? Well, it didn't get thrown away and he was mad. He was mad for about a week over that. And I'm like, well, I married you, didn't I? So what are you mad about? But he didn't like the things that were on the sheet. But they were, my version of how I saw things, plus and minus with respect to marrying him. So we can use things and tools that we learn throughout our entire life. Guess what? We already do. The way we think, the way we believe, the way we observe and experience things, a lot of that is because of the way we had and the experiences we had before we were 5. Just think about that. The way you respond, the way you react in different situations, even in emergencies, might be because of an experience you had before you were 5. That's pretty incredible to think, especially, most of us are over 5 now. Heck, I'm 11 times 5. So should I still be making decisions and reacting like a 5-year-old? Probably not. Or a 3-year-old, right? Probably not. That's it. That's all I've got today. If I can help you in any way, hit me up and ask in the comments below. If you want to join the Get Up and Go challenge, I highly recommend it. I'm not going to take the previous days away. The recordings are up there. It's there. It's going to be there. It'll be there forever because it's not just a challenge. It's a 30-day free challenge, but I just call it a challenge because you break down one thing a day that you're going to do and focus on to move you toward what you want. We're using it to get us through this crisis and to make sure we're better off, at least way better off than when we started April 1st to April 30th. But people and you can go through it any time whenever you're facing a change or challenge. My daughter's store was shut down and eliminated. Her business and her job, although she didn't lose her job, her entire team was fired and let go the week before the crisis shut everything down. And then a week into the crisis, she was let go. And she's we were talking about yesterday, she's still having a hard time with that because she got kind of a double whammy. I mean, her business was shut down, which just goes to prove and show us that these things are happening all the time. We're always experiencing challenges and difficulties and changes, right? Good and bad, in our estimation, all the time throughout our entire life. And how we respond to them is up to us, but we have the ability to respond to them no matter when they happen. Just so happens that millions and millions of people are experiencing and going through this at the same time. So never in history has there been this many people impacted at the same time by the same thing. And with that comes more challenges and more difficulty, but also brings with it more opportunities and more ways to help and serve people. So that's it. Have an amazing day, and I'll of course be with you tomorrow.